Stone, Antoinette, we're about 30 yards away from the site of the explosion. You can see just behind me, it is still a very active scene right here off of Old Country Road near Montauk Highway. About a dozen first responder and fire trucks on the scene, as well as 3 National Grid trucks, because Stone, as you mentioned, at this point officials do believe this was possibly caused by a gas leak. Now, Chopper 12 is live overhead. You can see there's a crane on the property. Not too long ago, it was combing through the debris and actually just knocked down the chimney on that property site. You can still smell gas in the air, but at this point it seems those flames are out. But again, a very different scene from earlier today around 2 o'clock when that call came in. You can see fire creating thick clouds of smoke that was billowing up into the sky. Now, we heard from the Southampton town supervisor, Anna Thornholst, who said 2 people were working on the property at the time of the explosion. They are not the residents. They were working at the home, believed to have been working in the basement, clearing debris, and there may have been a gas leak. Again, National Grid is on the scene right now trying to cut off the main gas line. Those 2 workers were severely hurt, suffered severe burns, and were actually airlifted to the hospital. And it turns out that the owner of the property had applied for a demolition permit, but that permit was not yet granted. They were actually under review for that permit, but it's believed the workers were clearing debris in anticipation for that demo permit to go through. Again, still a very active scene off of Old Country Road. Lots of fire officials here combing and scoping the scene, making sure everything is okay. And of course, we will be on the scene all throughout the evening, bringing you the latest updates. But that is the latest right now from Watermill. Alicia Laventure, News 12 Long Island. Stone, Antoinette.
All right, thank you very much, Alicia.
Stone, Antoinette, at least 75 fire personnel from 2 different fire departments responded to this home explosion. You can see a fair number of them behind me still at the scene. Now a pile of rubble. National Grid is also on scene, believing the cause of this explosion to be a gas leak. The gas has now been turned off, and 2 workers at the home at the time of the explosion are now in the hospital fighting for their lives.
We have not had this happen out here in a long time.
A house explosion in Watermill. Chopper 12 was overhead the fiery scene of a completely leveled house Wednesday afternoon as crews worked quickly to put out the flames. Southampton fire officials say the call came in at 2:17. Firefighters arrived at the home on Old Country Road near Montauk Highway within 2 minutes. They were able to contain the fire within 10 minutes. The chief says they put out the bulk of the flames along with hotspots within an hour. Fire officials say they had quick and clear access to the home despite snow and ice. The chief says the weather only made it challenging for his crews to stay warm once they put out the flames. 2 workers believed to be cleaning debris in the basement of the home were hurt in the explosion. They were airlifted to Stony Brook University Hospital.
We're going to put foam over the hot spots, and then we'll be able to leave, and the fire marshals will take care of the investigation.
Now, fire crews are starting to clear out right now. The fire chief tells me folks living in the area have no concerns, should be not concerned about their safety as far as this home explosion goes. Southampton PD tells me at this point they do not suspect any criminality, and the fire marshal will be continuing to investigate this explosion to determine the official cause. That's the latest in Watermill. Alicia Laventure, News 12 Long Island. Stone, Antoinette.
Thank you, Alicia.
Stone, Lee, this is the closest we've been able to get to this scene all night. You can see just over my shoulder there's still police tape, and right now the only people on scene, National Grid, because officials tell us they do believe a gas leak was behind this explosion. Now, we had the chance to talk to several neighbors who were home during the time, and one in particular explains in her own words what it was like to hear the house next door go boom.
Smoke everywhere.
Anita Ruiz was home watching TV when she heard the house next door explode. She says she thought it was a car crash and ran outside to see what happened.
And the flames, you could see the flames. The flames were like all over the place. They were very close, and that's what made me very nervous.
Southampton fire officials say the call came in at 2:17. Chopper 12 was overhead as fire crews worked quickly to put out the flames.
We have not had this happen out here in a long time.
Firefighters arrived at the home on Old Country Road near Montauk Highway within 2 minutes. They were able to contain the fire within 10 minutes. The chief says they put out the bulk of the flames along with hotspots within an hour. Fire officials say they had quick and clear access to the home despite snow and ice. The chief says the weather only made it challenging for his crews to stay warm once they put out the flames. 2 workers believed to be cleaning debris in the basement of the home were hurt in the explosion. They were airlifted to Stony Brook University Hospital.
We're going to put foam over the hot spots, and then we'll be able to leave, and the fire marshals will take care of the investigation.
Now again, the fire marshal is working to confirm the exact cause at this point, still thinking it was a gas leak. Southampton PD says they don't suspect any criminality involved in this explosion. But you know what? Still a lot of people really shaken up at the fact that a house next by could explode like that. That's the latest in Watermill. Alicia Laventure, News 12 Long Island. Lee Stone.
Alicia, thank you very much.
This post bearing the number 21 is the only thing left standing after the house behind it exploded. All that's left is a pile of charred rubble where two men nearly lost their lives.
Sounded like half the world came down.
It was scary.
A door dangling in trees, window panes propped up by branches. These aren't scenes from a movie. It's the aftermath of a real home explosion in Watermill Wednesday afternoon.
We're lucky we're in here tonight.
Edward Cush and several of his neighbors were home when the farmhouse next door exploded. He quickly ran over. Southampton town officials believe two men were in the basement at the time, clearing debris in preparation for remodeling.
These guys were all bloody and kind of black, but they were walking around.
Black, likely from soot and smoke. Cush says the two young Hispanic workers were miraculously responsive after the eruption.
The guy actually said to me, we broke a gas line.
They were airlifted to Stony Brook University Hospital. This exclusive video sent to us by a News 12 viewer shows the fiery scene of the home in flames. 50 yards away, Cush says the force of the explosion separated his back door from the rest of the house.
It was pushed back by the suction about 2.5 inches, 3 inches in some places, and all this is freshly exposed. This was against here, so this got sucked out.
These were going to be passed down.
When Patricia Reinhardt joined Cush at their house, she says she found her antique dishes, family heirlooms in pieces on the ground.
When I came home, this was wide open.
Crews were able to put out the flames within an hour. Fire officials say it's an isolated incident, but neighbors say they're still pretty shaken up.
I have an apartment on West 79th Street, and it made me say, I want to go back because, you know, this is not for me.
I'm afraid to go to bed a little bit because I'm thinking, I wonder how far the gas lines come towards our house here.
National Grid spent most of Wednesday evening checking the gas lines of nearby homes. At this point, the two men, one is in stable condition and the other in critical. The Southampton Fire Marshal is investigating the official cause of this explosion. In Watermill, Alicia Laventure, News 12 Long Island.